we've done so far in 2019 is take back the losses that ensued in that shocking December sell-off that we saw. We've seen this V-shaped recovery. Where next then, in light of what you're saying? Are you saying that actually stocks overall will struggle to make further gains here, given what the forecasts here from earnings season are presenting?
So there's the earnings story, which we already talked about, but there's also the economic story. We know we've seen a pretty significant rolling over in animal spirits and a denting of a lot of the confidence measures as well as the survey-based measures. And I think a lot of that has to do with trade. And I think trade does represent the most important needle mover in the near term, not just in terms of impact on the stock market. And we see that on an intraday basis, on a day-to-day basis, how important that is to daily action. But also, I think trade will ultimately define the length of runway between now and the next recession. We are getting a recession. It's inevitable. They always happen at end of cycle. It's just a question of whether it's pushed further out or it maybe happens in the nearer term, closer to where we are right now than I think what is consensus expects. And I do think trade is probably the most important factor there.
It makes sense. Vanguard said this week they saw a 30 to 35% probability that we see a recession in 2019. Is that too bearish in your mind?
Not necessarily. I think if there's no trade deal, and in particular if the remaining tariffs kick in, that the consensus is that if we tacked on all the tariffs that are either already in place and proposed, it takes at least a percentage point off of U.S. economic growth. In an environment where growth is slowing anyway, and you add on slow global growth, and the fact that the leading indicators peaked out last September and have been down 2 out of the last 3 months. There are a number of other sub-indicators that are starting to look like they tend to do within, say, 6 months of a recession. So is it possible that one could start in 2019? Yes, but I think it would probably only be if we don't get some sort of trade deal and we kick in those remaining tariffs.